Oh, you are not ready for this tea, because Prince Harry has just dropped another verbal bomb, and honestly, the blast might have destroyed what tiny piece of peace was left between him and King Charles. The royal olive branch burned to ashes, the palace walls shaking like an earthquake, and the kicker, it all went down during an interview that went viral faster than you can say Megxit. Picture this: Harry's in Ukraine, supposedly on this noble mission with his Invictus project, riding trains, meeting soldiers, looking all somber and serious. But instead of people talking about his charity, the entire world is buzzing over what he said about his family. Not Meghan, not William, not even the tabloids this time. Nope, he went straight for the monarchy, and more specifically his father, King Charles. Yes, the same father who's battling cancer right now. And the timing? Brutal. Harry's headline claim? His conscience is clear. Clear. After the Oprah bombshell, after the Netflix circus, after the lawsuits, after years of royal mudslinging, he says he feels no guilt. None. According to him, he wasn't dragging his family, he was simply correcting the narrative. That's his story, and he's sticking to it. But tell me, what does it look like to you? Because to the palace, it looks like a knife twist delivered with a smile. And when he was asked if he regrets putting all this dirty laundry in public, Harry doubled down, not even a flinch. Nope, he says. The book Spare was the only way to get the truth out. His truth. He's convinced that the stories weren't harsh, they were honest. And honestly, that's exactly what has palace insiders fuming. They think it's tone-deaf, disrespectful, even cruel, especially since he just had a rare reconnection with Charles days before. Who does that? Reconnects with their sick dad, then goes on camera basically saying, "Yeah, I'd do it all again." Bold or just heartless, and it gets worse. Harry casually throws in a line that the focus this year should be on my dad. Sounds sweet, right? Except insiders are saying that felt like a cruel spotlight on Charles's condition, like Harry was reminding the world that time may be running out. One royal aide literally said, "He acts like repeating these stories helps, but it just twists the knife." And honestly, that's the vibe. Every time Harry hints at reconciliation, he flips and launches another grenade. Even his defenders are starting to cringe, because how can you claim to want peace while setting the whole palace on fire every few months? But here's the twist. Harry doesn't see it as revenge. He insists it's about accountability. He wants the smear campaigns to stop. He wants the narrative to change. And in his eyes, this is the only way. He swears it's not about bitterness, it's about justice. But let's be real, every time he opens his mouth, it feels less like accountability and more like poking a hornet's nest. And guess what? The royal family has run out of stingers. They're done. Meanwhile, Meghan, practically invisible in this interview, the only mention was Harry quoting her advice, "The truth is the most efficient way to live." Oh, he clearly took that one to heart, because his version of the truth is raw, unfiltered, and apparently never-ending. And here's the gossip kicker. Palace aides think Meghan's silence is intentional. She's keeping her hands clean while Harry swings the bat. Convenient, right? Now, let's talk optics. Because Harry in Ukraine should have been a wholesome PR win. There he was, standing by war memorials, comforting wounded soldiers, talking resilience, inspiring amputee athletes, setting up veteran sports facilities. On paper, perfect. In photos, cinematic. Too cinematic. The walking stick, the moody train rides, the reflective stares at memorials, it looked like a Netflix doc in the making. Critics pounced. Was this about Ukraine or was it about brand Harry? And here's where it gets juicy. Harry always insists he hates staged photos, that he's not into media choreography. But come on, these shots scream production. The irony, he's basically managing his image while preaching authenticity. Every frame feels like a carefully crafted, misunderstood Prince campaign. He's building the version of himself he wants us to see. Principled, wounded, and oh so unbothered. But wait, because he actually says his definition of success is being unbothered. Yes, unbothered. The man who has given us endless interviews, books, and lawsuits says he's unbothered. Please. Then he flexes again, saying the Ukrainians love him because he's quite Ukrainian in attitude. Translation? He does his own thing. Eyebrows raised everywhere. It sounded humble on the surface, but the ego dripped through. Classic Harry, painting himself as a rebel, a free spirit, a misunderstood son of Diana. And yes, he name-dropped Diana again, framing himself as her spiritual heir. Problem? Spiritual. People love Diana because she was authentic, not because she told us she was. Harry swears he's happy, not just okay, he says he's fulfilled, content, at peace, yet every word drips frustration. Because honestly, if you're truly happy, do you need to keep insisting on it over and over? It almost sounds like he's trying to convince himself. And who does he blame for the miserable Prince image? The press. Always the press. He calls them the real villain, accusing tabloids of manipulating public opinion, of blocking reconciliation, of painting him as bitter and ungrateful. It's the same wound he keeps scratching, and it never heals. He's even framing his legal battles with the tabloids like a holy war. Still suing them, still fighting for justice. But here's the irony. His interviews give those same tabloids endless ammo. Every headline, every soundbite, every truth bomb becomes a story that keeps the cycle spinning. He says he wants peace, but his mouth keeps fueling the fire. And the palace? Furious. One One insider called his remarks a gut punch, especially the ones hinting at Charles's declining time. They say Harry blindsided them, that after opening a small door for reconnection, he barged in with cameras rolling. To a family that lives by never complain, never explain, his constant media trail feels like betrayal again and again. The pattern is undeniable now. Harry says he wants to heal, then he talks, then the fracture deepens. It's like watching someone claim they're putting out a fire while pouring gasoline. And his latest line? You cannot have reconciliation without truth. To the public, that sounds noble. To the royals, it's an accusation, a slap in the face. It's Harry positioning himself as the only truth teller, the righteous one, while everyone else hides. How can there be dialogue if one side is painted as guilty liars before the conversation even starts? And then comes the coldest part. Right after reconnecting with Charles during this fragile, scary chapter of his illness, Harry goes public with detached, strategic remarks. Talking about life being precious, about wanting to focus more on his father, but without any warmth, no gratitude, no affection. Insiders say it felt like a PR chess move, not a son's heart. Chilling. And when asked if Spare was worth it, he said yes. No hesitation. He'd do it again. That book, packed with private stories, William's fights, Camilla jabs, family betrayals, he still calls it necessary. For him, it was cleansing. For the royals, it was betrayal carved in ink. And that's the line nobody's forgetting. Now let's gossip about responsibility or lack thereof. Harry deflects every time. People call him bitter. He blames media manipulation. People call him stubborn. He calls it principles. Never does he pause and wonder if maybe his actions have caused damage. Nope. It's always someone else's fault. Yet in the same breath, he says he feels supported by the British public. That's rich because while some do admire him, polls show a big chunk see him as out of touch, overly sensitive, even obsessed with his own victim narrative. And it's hard to claim moral high ground while flying private jets to charity trips and cashing millions off family drama. Contradictions everywhere, and the public is noticing. Because in the end, Harry's biggest enemy may not be the press, or even the palace. His biggest enemy might just be his own mouth. Every time he says he's unbothered, he proves how bothered he really is. Every time he says he wants peace, he lights another match. Every time he says he's happy, his words scream otherwise. And that's the sad, messy, endlessly dramatic royal saga we're watching unfold, live in gossip-worthy HD. And let's not forget the one thing that always haunts Harry's every move, the ghost of Princess Diana. He invokes her again, not directly as a martyr, but as his justification. He says his rebellious streak, his unwillingness to be silenced, comes straight from her. And yes, Diana was the people's princess. But here's the harsh gossip truth. Diana didn't tell people she was authentic, she simply was. That's the difference. And critics are quick to say Harry is overplaying the Diana card, leaning on her memory whenever he needs sympathy. It's starting to look less like legacy and more like a crutch. And that leaves King Charles in a brutal position. On one hand, he's a father battling illness, trying to balance personal pain with public duty. On the other hand, every time he extends even the smallest olive branch to Harry, it's turned into headlines. Imagine being Charles, watching your son parade truth bombs while the world speculates on your health. Palace aides say Charles feels torn, even betrayed, but still holds out some hope. Some insiders whisper that Charles, deep down, would welcome reconciliation. But after this latest interview, that hope is hanging by a thread thinner than royal protocol. William, of course, is another story. The heir to the throne is reportedly livid. To him, Spare wasn't just a book, it was a knife through brotherly trust. And now these interviews, these "I do it all again" remarks, are pouring salt into that wound. Sources say William doesn't even bother pretending anymore. He's moved on, focused on his role, his family, and the crown's future. The gossip, William sees Harry as a lost cause. One insider even quipped, William isn't waiting for an apology anymore. He's waiting for silence, brutal, but believable. And the public? Oh, the public is split like never before. Some cheer Harry for his bravery, for refusing to be muzzled by centuries of royal tradition. Others roll their eyes, tired of the contradictions, tired of the endless drama. If he wants privacy so badly, why does he keep talking? That's the question echoing across social media, and Harry's answer that he's not chasing fame but correcting the narrative only fuels the fire. Because at this point, every correction feels like another provocation. And here's the ultimate irony. The man who claims he wants peace is now the biggest storm in the royal universe. His words land like grenades, exploding carefully managed palace silence into chaos. His actions scream contradiction. Charity missions filmed like Hollywood sets, lawsuits framed as holy crusades, declarations of happiness delivered with frustration. It's a cycle, and unless he breaks it, the cycle will never end. So where does that leave us? A king fighting for health, a son demanding truth, a family fractured beyond recognition, and a monarchy that thrives on silence now caught in the loudest, messiest, most public feud in its modern history. Harry believes his truth is the path to freedom, but the palace whispers a darker version, that his truth isn't just setting him free, it's setting everything on fire. And as the smoke rises over Buckingham Palace, one question lingers in the air, whispered by insiders, debated by the public, and feared by the crown itself. When Harry finally runs out of truth bombs, what will he have left?